Over the last 3 decades, Alien War has become something of a legend in Alien fan circles. This was an attraction, a total reality experience, as described by its creators, centered around the Alien series of films. It was strictly based in the UK in the mid-1990s, but fans who were able to attend still remember it fondly, and as an innovative experience that really paved the way for scary, immersive, horror-based attractions that we still see to this day. It has certainly captured the fascination of fans who were unable to get the opportunity to experience it firsthand, including myself. This fascination has yet again resurged following the release of a new documentary which came to us on Alien Day of this year, Beneath London, the Story of Alien War. The documentary, directed by Paul King, is a retrospective on Alien War and follows the phenomenon it created within that brief window of time between 1993 and 1996. If you're familiar at all with Alien War, it is a great love letter to the attraction and is sure to rekindle some fond memories. If you're not familiar, maybe it's worth tracing back to some of its publicity reports and fan accounts. A lot of coverage and hype for Alien War came from the Aliens Fan magazine. This was also exclusive to the UK, and it served as a go-to for all things Alien-related at the time. As early as 1992, it wasn't exactly as simple as logging onto the internet to search for updates on your favorite franchise, so for many people this was the ultimate arena to remain in the know for everything Alien. It serialized the comics from Dark Horse, had updates on fan events and conventions, featured exclusive interviews, fan Q&A in its Bug Hunt series, spotlighted theories and explanations of the creatures and technology within the series, and it had plenty of news coverage. While I'm on the other side of the pond, I do happen to have a decent collection of back issues, and I wanted to share some of its news regarding Alien War. As it was first reported in September of 1992, it came from humble beginnings as an attraction in Scotland and grew from there. Here's the original coverage of Alien War as reported by Gary Bunn in Aliens magazine. With the eagerly anticipated Alien 3 about to set British cinemas alight and Aliens the Special Edition still ringing in cash registers, popularity of the Alien phenomenon looks set to reach an all-time high. For those of you who have already devoured all 3 movies and slaver for more, a new concept in licensing has arrived which should provide enough terror to satisfy the most hardened Aliens fan. That concept is Alien War, and it's the brainchild of 2 young men, Gary Gillies and John Gorman. Alien War has been devised to simulate the experience of actually being in an Alien movie. It's a live-action, interactive adventure that places its participants in an environment where they're stalked by arguably the most horrifying creature ever to hit movie screens. The adventure begins when you enter watching Alien and Aliens as the gritty, space-aged complex situated double bill. With an armed Marine as your guide, you are led through a maze of smoke-filled rooms and corridors where each corner of the room is a potential hiding place for the xenomorph. With lights flashing and alarms wailing to induce the correct level of panic, you journey on your way through to the end. A key ingredient to the success of Alien War, a conceptual cross between live-action role-playing and a fairground house of horror, is its shock value, which follows strongly in the tradition of the movies. The star of the show, however, is the alien itself. Based on H.R. Giger's original designs, it is perfect in every detail and guaranteed to strike terror into the hearts of paying customers. Since the complex opened in April of this year, apocryphal stories have arisen about people being attacked by their rendering of the beast. The creators dreamed up the idea 3 years ago, while at a local art cinema watching Alien and Aliens as a double bill. John Gorman, also a serious collector of Aliens props, was exhibiting part of his collection at the cinema. He recalls, "I thought to myself, instead of people just looking at the props, they could have these things around them in an alien environment." He avoided the idea of the then-popular laser tag game in favor of a "you are there" experience, or as he describes it, a modern-day ghost train. Alien War relies heavily on the imagination of the individual person, and has been designed to bring their darkest fears to the surface. An exclusive deal has now been struck with 20th Century Fox in Los Angeles to take Alien War to the United States, where the Fox vice chairman recently watched the proceedings on video, and there have been discussions of other versions being set up in both France and Tokyo. Spoiler warning, it did not make its way to the United States, nor France or Tokyo, as originally hoped. It did, however, of course, make its way into a much bigger venue in London, which is the most known and remembered version of Alien War. Exactly how much it may have differed, it's hard to say. If there's only a few detailed accounts of Alien War in London, then there are even fewer of Alien War in Glasgow. The following March, after this article was published, a fan account did in fact appear in the Bug Hunt section of Aliens magazine. Here's what one very impressed Scottish fan had to say. Dear Bug Hunt, I've been an Alien fan for quite some time, but recently I was in a shop and saw your mag. It was the last one on the shelf, so I grabbed it and read it on the way home. What can I say? I loved it. When I saw Bug Hunt, I know the letters you usually get are from fans telling you what they thought about the films or your mag. I thought I should let those readers who haven't been to it yet know about the Alien War experience. I was expecting an exhibition, but was soon, to my delight, proven wrong. It begins with a briefing from an armed Marine who escorts you into a military base and down a narrow corridor until you reach a door. Leaving you outside briefly, he goes inside, then re-emerges to tell you, in no uncertain terms, that an alien is near, and that you should get the hell into the room and put yourself against the wall. Get to the front so that you can see everything. Suddenly the lights go out, and then a single flashing light momentarily blinds you. The first thing you see is a guide fighting with an alien. Well, I won't ruin the rest of the show for you, except to say that a predator puts in an all too short appearance. The show has ended in Glasgow and is moving down to England, so go see it. Alan Adair, Moncton, Ayrshire. 3 months later, the magazine posted an update. Incoming, the gala opening of Alien War in the first week of August in a spacious West End London venue near Trafalgar Square promises to be the event of 1993. Information received thus far on this theme plaza includes entrance fees of $6.95 adults, $4.95 children, for a fright-filled 15 minutes of close encounters with everyone's favorite alien. See next issue's special feature on Alien War for full details. And in that next issue, in July 1993, we got the full report on Alien War's official opening in London. Dave Hughes sets his sights on London's next big tourist attraction, its very own Alien War. Later this year, something incredible is coming to London, something that has the potential to make as much of an impact on the world of aliens as another sequel. Something interactive, something scary, and this time, like the publicity ads say, everyone will be able to hear you scream. As regular readers will know, Alien War began life in Glasgow last year as an ingenious but frustratingly small-scale ghost train-style experience, in which a group of visitors were taken through a maze of rooms and corridors by an actor dressed as a colonial marine, bombarded with scary sights and sounds with an ever-present threat of attack by the show's own authentic alien. The brainchild of Alien fans Gary Gillies and John Gorman, the event attracted 100,000 people during its 6-month pilot run. Now, following an exclusive and lucrative deal with 20th Century Fox, the first of a planned series of Alien War franchises around the world is set to open in the heart of London's West End, creating not just a place for fans of the trilogy to visit, but a whole new tourist attraction into the bargain. In fact, creators Gillies and Gorman expect to terrorize more than 500,000 visitors in the first year alone, according to Gillies. London's Alien War is worlds apart from the Glasgow event, and really relives all the tension and action of Aliens. We approached the Glasgow show as a pilot for something more impressive, to test the water, and it worked beyond our wildest expectations. The London version is 6 times as big, more high-tech, and will be using a lot more original props and scenery from the films, some of which have never been seen before, to create as authentic an experience as possible. So authentic, in fact, that there's a health warning posted on the entrance for the faint-hearted amongst you. And if you think 15 minutes is a little too short a thrill for your money, $6.95 adults, $4.95 children, Gillies and Gorman experimented with different durations in Glasgow, and at 30 minutes the tension, according to participants, was too great, so they settled on half that time. Don't worry, it'll seem like an eternity when you're running for your life, quips Gillies. You'll be blown away by its realism. It's going to be the most exciting thing to hit Europe this summer. Believe the hype. For those who haven't heard, and without giving too much away, the scenario for the heart-stopping experience is as follows. Members of the public are invited to take part in a leisurely tour of Weyland-Yutani Corporation's laboratory complex to view some aliens in suspended animation. Naturally, one escapes from the med lab, and from there, the tour takes a hellish turn for the worse. The site is built on 2 levels, and the tension mounts as the action moves deeper into the complex, building to a completely chaotic finale. Depending on initial reactions to the established set pieces, Gillies and Gorman intend to add new thrills further down the line. And it isn't just the 15-minute tour from hell itself that the organizers hope will attract fans. They already have plans to set up a permanent alien museum at the site, containing many of the actual costumes, props, and related memorabilia from the films, as well as a souvenir shop carrying the latest merchandise, comics, and magazines. The project is scheduled to open in the first week of August at a capacious site near Piccadilly Circus, but its specific location is still under wraps as of this writing. However, the design of the proposed Alien War set, seen here in some early production sketches, has an impressive pedigree. its creators having worked on the 3 Alien movies, Star Wars, both Batmans, Back to the Future Part 2, and several James Bonds. And, as can be seen by the stage production stills on this page, construction of the full-scale sets is well underway and creates an authentic and menacing sense of place. Also on display are some rare original works by H.R. Giger. Look out for the Canny poster campaign throughout July, following which Messrs. Gillies and Gorman will be ready to declare alien war on London. And there you have it. Thus concludes the hype portion. And, in August of 1993, alien fans all over London experienced something truly terrifying. Delays. Yes, unfortunately, Alien War wasn't able to be the hit of the summer, but it did make an equally suitable release date right before Halloween of that year. Here's what Aliens magazine reported a few months later. Months of planning and preparation finally paid off on 16 October as John Gorman's and Gary Gillies' Alien War experience, situated in London's Trocadero Centre, opened its doors to the public for the first time. Considering the millions of pounds invested in the walk-through Alien simulation, all concerned, including Pear Tree Associates, Alien War's organizers, and Fox, are hoping for big things from the project. Described as the longest 15 minutes of your life, the new Alien War is an upscaled, upmarket version of Gorman's and Gillies' previous setup. A mini-theme park based on the movie Aliens and situated under some specially chosen Glaswegian railway arches. This earlier incarnation of Alien War attracted the interest of not only 100,000 visitors, but 20th Century Fox as well. They were interested in the organizers' plan to bring the experience to London, and a deal was signed. Now all they had to do was locate it, build it, and launch it. Delayed from its original launch date due to over-optimistic scheduling, Alien War's World Gala premiere took place on Friday, 14 October, beginning with a photo call for Sigourney Weaver, flown in by Concorde especially for the opening. Weaver, short-haired and stunning, thanks in part to the absence of the airbrushes who ruined her jawline on the Dave movie posters, did her best to look scared by a plastic alien, but looked mostly irritated by the assembled photographer's preference for calling her Ripley. She was soon joined by fellow Aliens and Alien 3 actor Lance Henriksen and Alien War's organizers before being whisked away to, the shops. After an afternoon of press interviews, including Aliens magazine's lengthy chat with Weaver and Henriksen, which will be featured in a forthcoming issue, the fun moved on to Trocadero itself, where Weaver, Henriksen, Gorman, and Gillies made up the first group to experience the Alien War event. Variously described as either a real, live, and exciting adventure, source, publicity flyer, or a cheapo underground Laser Quest type affair where people in alien costumes go woo and jump out, tentacles a-quivering, source, London Listings Magazine Time Out. Organizational skills, alas, were not to the fore, as the clearly oversubscribed occasion meant that most of the assembled journalists and celebrities failed to get a glimpse of the event itself. Something tells me this writer. Even the subsequent party at Planet Hollywood turned away many of the invited guests, who had been so busy queuing to go on the ride that they missed the deadline for the celebrity bash afterwards. Nevertheless, despite these initial problems, queues the following day looked healthy enough, and the organizers are hopeful of reaching their projected target of 1 million attendees within the first year. Meanwhile, Bug Hunt will be awaiting to hear what you think. After Alien War's opening, fans would regularly write into Bug Hunt and share their further experiences, which is something that continued into the modern age. Every so often, you will see the topic of Alien War come up on social media sites like Reddit, and users will fondly remember the experience. It was absolutely brilliant. I remember going for a friend's birthday as a kid. Marines ushering us onto an APC, then the lights go out. Marine opens fire and his pulse rifle illuminates a xenomorph in the aisle. At the end of the experience, we're running screaming down a corridor, then through a set of doors which opened in front of the next people queuing to get in. Amazing. I went to this in my early teens. It was like being in the film set of Aliens. One minute we were walking along the corridor, the next minute we see a xenomorph at the end of the dark and misty corridor frantically advancing towards us. The Marine shouts and fires his rifle at the xenomorph while we run for our lives. Later on, I remember sitting in a room, feeling a tiny bit safer, when suddenly I hear banging on the door and the lights go out. The lights come back on and there's a xenomorph where the door was, 1 meter away from me, tail whipping around. The next thing I remember was everyone running out of the room. As a teenager back in the 90s, it was an excellent experience. I remember that. It was incredible. I still have the shirt. They had a mock-up of the Queen Alien for pictures and Bishop's legs hanging from the ceiling in the gift shop. I wish I had gone back a few times, but sadly only did it once. I went to the London Alien War twice in the mid-90s. Fantastic. I remember the bit in the lift when a volunteer presses the open button for the door and immediately gets grabbed and taken by an alien, never to be seen again. The actors they used for Marines, the sets, and sound effects were perfect. They had a little area that had real props from the movies, Hypersleep bed, Ripley's Reeboks, eggs, etc. I had an Alien War t-shirt. It was superb. Got a pass in my Alien VHS box set shaped as a facehugger. The girl that was grabbed by the xenomorph had a bit of an episode apparently, but was probably a plant. It was. They did one in Scotland, but the Aliens actors occasionally got a kicking, so it didn't last long. Great memories. Thanks, fella. I went with a friend. It was fantastic. I was shoving little kids out of the way trying to escape from the aliens, reduced to a cowardly blob by how well done it was. Unforgettable. I went to it when I visited London as a teenager. I remember we were walking around and completely lost my shit when I spotted it. I told my mom there's literally no way we are not doing this. I will not move from this spot in protest, lol. We got tickets and went through it. From what I remember, it felt like being in the movie. The set was really well done, and I was properly scared shitless. One thing I should note about the documentary Beneath London is that it was made with the intention of being sort of a jumping-off point. It's a documentary short. It's a little over 20 minutes, and the hope is that it garners enough attention to warrant a feature-length version. There's lots more to tell, lots more I'd personally like to see from it. For example, what I think would be really cool to see is some kind of recreation of the attraction itself. There's plenty of footage you can find out there that's been archived, and if you look hard enough, there's even a pretty legendary in its own right audio recording from someone who snuck in their own tape recorder back in the 90s. And a fair amount of articles that recollect the experience and take it step by step to the best of their ability and their memory. But how great would it be to actually see firsthand what they were talking about? Maybe some kind of footage used for internal purposes, as alluded to in one of the articles I shared today, still exists somewhere? It would be great to see that. All else failing, maybe get a hold of a proper script, act it out anew, which might be a little expensive, so failing that, maybe some kind of animated recreation. That, I think, would be incredible, and a great treat for Alien fans, for those who have been to the attraction before, and for those who never had the chance. If you feel the same way, or if you're interested in the least, definitely check out the documentary. Let them know that there is interest, and let them know you want to see more. I'll leave a link in the description below. And of course, if you happen to have visited Alien War yourself back in the 90s, I'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment below and share your experience. And as always, I'd like to thank you very much for watching today. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and be sure to subscribe to keep up with all the latest from Alien Theory. My very special thanks today goes out to Nicholas Butta, our Weyland-Yutani executive, and Gregory Ford, the Patreon Hive Praetorian. A very, very special thanks to Lady Anne in the Ellen Ripley Tier of Excellence. If you'd like to join the Hive and support the channel, check out my Patreon page for further information. In the meantime, you can follow me on social media. Follow @alien_theory on X, formerly Twitter. Follow @AlienTheoryYT on Facebook and Instagram for more. And until next time, this is Alien Theory, signing off.